Hello friends and welcome back to another video. So today's video is about my favorite thing in all of Ninjago, which is the Oni and Dragon Trilogy. So it's not really called the Oni Dragon Trilogy, it doesn't really have an official name yet, but I'm gonna call it the Oni Trilogy in this video because it's easier to pronounce and it's shorter. So yeah, we're going to go with that in this video. And yeah, so I'm going to talk about all the seasons at once. I'm not going to talk about them separately. I'm going to talk about the trilogy as a whole and why I think it really is the best thing to come out of Ninjago, and it's really Ninjago's peak. So yeah, let's get started. So first of all, I know that you will be like, how did you change your opinion this quickly? I mean, season 4 was your favorite like a few weeks ago in your ranking the seasons video, and now season 8 is your favorite and 100 is your second favorite. How did that happen? Right after season 8 ended in 2018, it directly became my favorite season by far. And when season 9 came out, it became my second favorite later on the year of 2018. And that continued for 2 more years, 2019 and 2020. And it was in like the summer of 2021 where season 4 took over and became my favorite. But that continued until the January of this year, and now my ranking is just back to normal, with Sons of Garmda being my favorite season and Hunted being my second favorite. Tournament of Elements is now my third favorite, and the rest of the list is exactly the same as you saw in the ranking the seasons video. I just thought I needed to explain that. So let's talk about the reception of the trilogy in the beginning with season 8. I mean, in the beginning we didn't really know that season 8 will be the first part of a 3-part story, which is the Oni trilogy. We didn't know that. We thought it will be just like any other season, but we were mistaken. I mean, we also know that the reception for Sons of Garmda at the beginning was really bad. The design changes, the animation change, everything really. It made people very upset and think that it will be as childish and as bad as the movie, but we were completely mistaken. It was the exact opposite. This is by far Ninjago's darkest season, as we know. Same thing with Hunted and kinda March of the Oni, not really as dark as the other two, but yeah, it's darker than many other seasons as well. The reception of this trilogy as a whole after it ended, I mean, I think a lot of Ninjago fans will tell you that this is really top Ninjago quality. Like, even my closest Ninjago friends, my friends who watch Ninjago, they have season 8 as their favorite and Hunted as their second favorite as well. Like, I know a lot of people that really think that these are the best Ninjago seasons. And for this trilogy, like I said, it really teaches us to not judge a book by its cover, because at the beginning a lot of people really hated it. It even made a lot of people leave the community, but then it turned out to be by far Ninjago's best content, installment, story, whatever you want to call it. So it exceeded all expectations really. Now let's talk about each aspect of the trilogy separately. First, let's talk about the things that are outside of their episodes, like the trailers and posters. Trailers for these seasons, especially Sons of Garmda and Hunted, are by far the best trailers. Like, first, they are not the generic trailers with that announcer or narrator or whatever you want to call it, that guy with a cool voice who says the events of the last season, all that stuff. No. Now it feels like a real story trailer about the season story, with the characters themselves telling the stuff, not a random narrator. But what makes it even better than the other seasons in terms of trailers is these story trailers they release alongside the main trailer. Like, Sons of Garmda had 6 or 5 extra trailers, and same thing with Hunted, and those are just amazing. I really like watching those and rewatching them. They are just very cool. So yeah, they are a very cool addition. It shows that even Logo themselves care about the show more than ever now. They are not just releasing this random trailer, they are releasing more than one, which is really cool. For the posters, that's not really a big change from the other seasons. March of the Oni was really the first season to have a trailer in the, poster, sorry, not trailer, a poster in the style of the TV show itself, not like with the style isn't really like with these Lego minifigures or something. No, it feels like they took a frame or a shot from one of the episodes and put it as a poster, which wasn't the case before, and I really like that. So now let's talk about the soundtracks. And man, the soundtracks for the Oni trilogy, they are just mind-blowing. Like listen to this, for example. Or this. Okay, this is the last one. Like, this is something you expect from Game of Thrones, from, I don't know, Marvel, these blockbuster productions with huge budgets and a lot of care. I mean, you don't expect it from a Lego show. You don't expect to hear something like this from a Lego show. It's just mind-blowing. And it really shows how much care Jay Vincent and Michael Kramer put into making these soundtracks, which make the great scenes even better, which is amazing. I mean, they are not just the best Ninjago soundtracks, they are the best soundtracks ever, like, out of anything, any video game, any TV show, any movie, anything, really. They're just that good, which is mind-blowing. For the animation, like I said, and I'm gonna say it again, this is the best an animated show can be. Like, some of the shots, you can't even tell if this is Ninjago or real life, really. It's just that good. The visuals are fantastic. The trees, the sky, the rain, all of them are 100% realistic. The only thing that isn't realistic about the environment really is the characters, obviously. But even the characters themselves look better than ever, really. Their movement, how they fight, their clothes, their hair, everything really is better than ever. The animation feels more serious. It feels like it makes the show feels more targeted towards adults rather than the Wild Brain animation. And even in fight scenes, a lot of people say that the Wild Brain fight scenes are way better than the Will Film fight scenes, but I heavily disagree with that, because the Will Film fights they feel more realistic. For Wild Brain, they have these stretching things and moves that the characters make that don't really feel realistic. They feel too fantastical or too childish, and I'm not really a big fan of that. I prefer these more violent and realistic fights that Will Film, especially the Oni Trilogy, provides. And like I said, the animation is just stunning, the best Ninjago can be, really. There's no way they can ever top this level of animation in terms of fight scenes, visuals, everything, really, even the movements of the characters. And like I said, it made the trilogy feel a lot like an adult show, really, not just a kids show. Now for the ninja, let's talk about each ninja separately. Like, obviously Lloyd and Cole are the most focused on ninja of this trilogy, especially Lloyd. He's like the overall main character of the trilogy, but even Cole got a lot more than any other ninja or character, pretty much. For Lloyd, like, the development and focus he went through is amazing. It's just mind-blowing to think that this came out of Ninjago. You first have his relationship with Harumi, which is what Kai and Moro's relationship in Possession could have been, but wasn't executed well. This is that relationship, but way better and has a lot more development and focus. And Harumi is a person who lost everything. She lost her parents, her home, her family, her everything. And instead of make her a stronger person, and instead of changing grief into something that makes her stronger, she chose to choose the mask of hatred. When it's an amazing thing that the season has the generic artifacts as masks, which also relates to the moral of the villain, and it's a genius idea, because Harumi chose to wear a mask of hatred instead of a mask of love or protection. She chose to make hatred her main motive, or the thing that fuels her. And what makes her death in Hunted extremely poetic and meaningful is that it was the first time she did something that is out of love, not out of hatred, which is with saving that family. It felt like this is the first time in her life where she did something good that wasn't motivated by hatred, it was motivated by love, which was an amazing thing. She realized in the very end that all this time she was wrong, and that she should have not let hatred define her character. And she also learned a lot from Lloyd. What makes her an even more interesting character is that she thinks that she's doing the right thing. She doesn't only want revenge, she thinks that she is doing the right thing and protecting Ninjago, because the threat that destroyed or killed her parents wasn't really defeated by the ninja, it was defeated by Garmadon. So she thinks that Garmadon deserves to be the protector of this land, because she also thinks that ninja are, every time they save the city, they just cause a lot of harm and when they saved the city, a lot of harm was already done. So she thinks that Garmadon deserves to be the protector. And that's just Thanos' level of motivation and villain quality, really. It's just that good. She reminds me a lot of Thanos, really. I mean, I already made countless videos about Harumi before, and I think I'm going to still make more because this is just not only my favorite Ninjago villain, but one of the best villains ever. Because there is a lot to her character, a lot of motives, a lot of point of views, and a lot of things you can talk about. So yeah, expect even more videos about Harumi. She's just an extremely well-written character. And that's something with Harumi, like every other villain before and after her, really. She didn't use physical power, she used mental power. And like I said, she has a lot of similarities with Lloyd. Lloyd is also in the end of Sons of Garmadon. He is just Harumi. But but Lloyd himself even said it. He's not gonna let it do to him what it did to her. He's gonna be a better person than her, and he's not gonna let anything he does be motivated by hatred. He's not gonna give up. He's gonna fight her to the end, which shows how heroic and brave and amazing Lloyd is, really. It shows that both of these characters went through the same thing, but the way they reacted and the way they made their motive be is very different, and that shows how a person is better than another person, really. Such an amazing idea. And Sons of Garmadon has the best message and theme of any Ninjago season by far, because it tells us about trust, about giving trust to the right person, about knowing how and when and why to trust someone, because trust is something that is earned, not given. And we saw what happened to Lloyd when he trusted the wrong person. It just completely destroyed him and caused him a lot of harm. And that's just a beautiful message. In fact, I'd say that older viewers would learn more from it actually than younger kids. Even Hunted has a lot of great messages about responsibility and grief and faith and all of that stuff. So yeah, Lloyd and Harumi were amazing in this trilogy, and they just have one of the best relationships ever. And also something else about it, like in the beginning it feels like a normal relationship, like with Kai and Skylar or Jay and Nia, really. But with episode 80 or 81, you discover that's not this normal relationship. It's a lot more than that. It's a lot deeper, a lot darker. It's just something different, not something generic. And that's another thing about the Oni trilogy. It's very different. Like at first you can say that you can feel like its concepts are kinda generic and not really that interesting, but when you watch it you will realize that it's not at all. Like it's very original. It has a lot of new, original, amazing ideas that their execution makes them even better. You also have Garmadon, which was amazing. Like, what I like about him as well is that in Sons of Garmadon he was this completely evil, like he's completely ruthless. There is no good in him. Then in Hunted he started to become a bit better. You kind of see that he's at least trying to protect his father's realm from the Oni. Then in March of the Oni is still not completely good, but he feels like an ally at least, or at least an anti-hero or something like that. Iron Baron is also an amazing villain. He's extremely dark, like how he killed the Ultra Dragon, or his death really is, I mean, it's very dark. You also have Ultraviolet, who is Ninjago's Harley Quinn. She was really good. Kilo, he's not really as good as the other villains, but I still think he's decent. Mr. E is amazing. He's very ruthless, very scary. The amount of charisma he has is amazing. He never said a word, which is a very creative idea and shows how unique of a villain he is, but he's still amazing. The only complaint I have about the Oni trilogy villains is that I wish that the Mr. E was Ekazane, but that's more of a missed opportunity, not an issue really. The Oni were really good. They could have benefited from more time and developing the March of the Oni, but that didn't happen. What we got is already good, but the Oni, I still think the Omega should have not really existed. Like, not every season needs a main villain. The main villain for March of the Oni could have been just the Oni as a whole. They didn't really need a leader like that, but I think they were pretty cool, really. So yeah, the villains of the Oni trilogy are amazing. Dragon Hunters are an amazing villainous faction, and what I love about the Dragon Hunters is that they're not evil necessarily. They're just doing what they need to do in order to live. They are hunting dragons, like in our real world where we hunt animals and to eat and all that stuff. They're just doing the same, really. So they're not really evil. And the Hunted itself doesn't really show you that they are evil. It just wants to show you that this is a different culture It wants to show you how they live, their style of life, how they survive, which is very interesting, and I really like that. The Sons of God are also amazing. They have their own belief, their own creature or whatever that they worship, which is Garmadon, obviously. They're also really cool. So all the villains of the Oni trilogy are amazing, very well written, extremely good characters and armies and villains factions. Yeah, the other ninja, Cole, had a lot. He had this father figure role with Baby Wu, which was extremely interesting. We saw his flashback, which was a hard hitter. It was extremely emotional. It showed, and Sons of God and Hunter really showed us that side of Cole, that softer side, that more responsible side. Even his line in the premiere of Sons of God that I will never forget, it's really one of the strongest lines ever, where he said that he started losing people in his life, so he's not gonna quit on Wu, because he knows that Wu will never quit on them, which is very powerful and shows how strong Cole's arc in this trilogy really is. And it really made him more of a three-dimensional character. Like before Sons of God, he was more of a two-dimensional character, but after this he really became more like he officially became a three-dimensional character. Jay is still the same Jay. In Hunted, I thought that he was really funny with how he lost his mind and all that stuff. It was a great idea. Kai had that whole thing with Cole's fall, where he was really affected by it. He had the best reaction out of all the ninja to Cole's fall. It was really, really realistic and amazing. Nia also was a great supporter for Lloyd during Hunted, and also her dealing with the fact that she was the one to cause Cole's fall really in March of the Oni was also really interesting. Zane had an amazing role in Sons of Garmadon, with him going undercover and fighting Mr. E. That was amazing, really. And the whole race as well with the Sons of Garmadon he had was very, very enjoyable to watch. Wu had an amazing role in Hunted as well. The First Realm. I love the First Realm. It was an amazing idea. You saw how the ninja reacted to being lost in a different realm. Jay completely lost his mind. Kai was very worried. Cole felt more out of the four ninja. He felt like the most one to not be affected by it, which shows how strong their character is. Zane also had more of a reaction like Cole. But yeah, it was an amazing idea, very creative, one of the best concepts in out of any Ninjago season, really. You see this completely new realm, this completely new culture, and another thing about the Oni trilogy, it really feels like its own show. Like I watch other shows or animes like Kame ga Kill that are their own independent show, and they only have 24 episodes like the Oni trilogy. So even if you watch the Oni trilogy by its own without watching any other Ninjago thing, you will just admire it. It feels like its own show, and that's really cool. So yeah, overall, the Oni trilogy. This is Ninjago speak, like I said, in terms of animation, soundtracks, writing, meanings, messages, characterization, plots, everything really. This is the best that Ninjago can ever be. Way better than anything we've ever seen, and I doubt that we'll ever see something better than the Oni trilogy, really. There's no way. I just feel like this is the point of the show where it just reaches its peak, and there's no way that it can ever be topped. Like, this is the best you can ever see from this show. And that's not a bad thing at all. I'm not saying that it means that Ninjago will never have something good again. No, I mean, we can have other things in the level of seasons 4, 5, 6, if we are very lucky in the future. But yeah, the Oni trilogy is a once in a lifetime experience. Even people who are huge fans of Netflix shows or these shows that are targeted for 18 plus people, I don't know, Stranger Things, Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, this is huge shows for sure, like the Oni Dragon trilogy. And like I said, the Oni trilogy is not only my favorite thing from Ninjago, it's one of my favorite pieces of media in ever, really. I can even compare it to the best shows that I've ever watched, and that's really cool, and that shows a lot about this trilogy. The Hagmans really had the best ending they could have had with Ninjago. They just showed us their true potential, really. They showed us their best with Ninjago, then they decided to leave. I mean, of course, I wish that they continued writing for Ninjago, but I'm happy that this was their ending. Their ending was the Oni trilogy, the strongest thing in all of Ninjago that will never be topped. That's very glorious and an amazing end for amazing writers. Like, I can make countless videos about it and about things inside of it, about its meanings. I don't know, like the relationship of Lloyd and Harumi, Garmadon's character, Cole's character, the dragon hunters, the trust message that expands on, all of these aspects, all of these details that I can make, that I can keep talking about them until tomorrow, which I can't really do that about any other season. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about the Ono trilogy. I think you are kind of tired of hearing me praise it. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. If you are tired of praising the Oni trilogy, but yeah, it deserves it. So yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to tell me in the comments what you think of this video on the Oni trilogy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll see you next time.